Good morning. Good morning. Good morning. It doesn't matter how many people are here, there's an equal amount of energy, no matter what. You contain it in this space, and it's great. Welcome, everybody. Welcome to the Unitarian Universalist Congregation of Greater Naples. My name is Tony Fisher, and I serve this congregation with gratitude and love. It is especially my pleasure today to express my gratitude for the hospitality crew, who every Sunday are here early, cleaning off the tables, getting everything ready, preparing something for your repast after the service, and then cleaning up after you. So, yeah. So thank you to Bill Halbrick, Stephanie Perkins, Gary Payonk, Maria McCormick, Della Hansen, Elizabeth Morell, Adrian Cady, Julie Wang, Eleanor Richardson, Jeannie Goldberg, Joe Augustine, Bill Pettinger, and anyone else who has participated in helping out on Sunday morning. Thank you very much. And thank you to Janet Hoffman, who's here as a worship associate this morning.
Thank you, Tony. And good morning to all of you. We're so happy that you have joined us, whether you are on Facebook Live, sitting out in the sanctuary, or here sitting out on the pavilion, or here in the sanctuary. Please know that everyone is always welcome here. And in fact, that is how our mission statement begins. We are a welcoming congregation, freely seeking intellectual and spiritual growth. We strive to create a larger community of peace, justice, and love. And here, as people of all ages, we learn and we grow together as we try to live our values out in the public. If you are new to our congregation, we are especially grateful that you found us. And it is our hope that we can make you feel welcome and help you to find ways to connect. And now, let's take a deep breath and settle ourselves into the time of worship with the morning's prelude.
Come into this circle of community. Come into this sacred space. Be not tentative. Bring your whole self. Bring the joy that makes your heart sing. Bring your kindness and your compassion. Bring also your sorrow and your pain. Bring your brokenness and your disappointments. All are welcome. Here may each and all know the joy of wholeness, and with each person we welcome, we expand the circle of love. Please join me in the chalice lighting words that you'll see on the screen or on your order of service. May this flame stir our hearts and remind us of our mission to be truly welcoming, to grow in mind and spirit, and to widen the circle of peace, justice, and love. And let's rise together as you're willing and able and join in singing our opening hymn, Answering the Call of Love. It's number 1014 in your teal hymnal, and Sean will lead us. The words will also be on the screen.
The promise of the Spirit, faith, hope, and love abide, and so every soul is blessed, made whole. The truth of our hearts is our guide. We are answering the call of love. Hands joined together as hearts beat as one. Emboldened by faith, we dare to proclaim we are answering the call of love. Sometimes we build a barrier to keep love tightly bound, corrupted by fear, unwilling to hear, denying the beauty we found. We are answering the call of love. Hands joined together as hearts beat as one. Emboldened by faith, we dare to proclaim we are answering the call of love. A bright new day is dawning, when love will not divide. Reflections of grace in every embrace, fulfilling the vision divine. We are answering the call of love. Hands joined together as hearts beat as one. Emboldened by faith, we dare to proclaim we are answering the call of love. We are answering the call of love.
Wonderful. Thank you. So I have occasionally expressed from this position that I have never thought of myself as a political animal. Oh, did you hear that all right. I grew up and I lived in a state that for the most part moved somewhat in alignment with my progressive leanings, with my sense of justice and fairness, regular political shenanigans aside, and with my hope that the common good will be held as important and people could live and work together despite their differences. And now, I live in a state and work in a state where that is far from the truth. Laws passed here in Florida over the past few years are antithetical to my sense of the common good, a clear attempt, in my own view, to legislate against difference and promote a single worldview. Laws that attack the immigrant community, the LGBTQ community, the black community, laws that attack our right to reproductive health care, laws that attack an open and public education system based in democratic values of freedom and equality. Often, they are passed in the name of freedom. These laws have taken freedoms away. It would be enough for me if this was a battle to be waged in the political arena alone. But accompanying the political maneuvering has been a wave of ugly rhetoric and ugly behavior, fueled by far-right leadership that has stirred up fears, anxieties, uncertainties of a population who already feel as if they have lost some control of their world, if indeed they ever had control of it in the first place. It has become so bad here in Florida that major justice organizations have issued travel advisories for our state, where tourism is one of our largest job sectors. A few weeks ago, the NAACP, long an advocate for black Americans, joined the League of United Latin American Citizens, a Latino civil rights organization, and Equality Florida, a gay rights advocacy group, in suggesting that our Sunshine State may not be a safe place to live or to visit. As this is Pride Month, let me focus this morning on the attacks on the transgender community across the country, and especially here in Florida. Bryn Tannehill is a graduate of the Naval Academy and a former fighter pilot whose story I shared a few years ago. She grew up in Arizona right next to Luke Air Force Base, and just about the time she realized that she wanted more than anything to be a Navy pilot, to be in one of those jets she saw taking off every morning on her way to school, she also realized she didn't identify with the male body in which she was born. Like many, she chose to keep her secret and pursued that career and eventually a family, but as time passed, she found out that that path was more and more untenable. She went through a complete transition, becoming a female, and now, in addition to being a senior technical analyst for the RAND Corporation, spends much of her time advocating for the trans community so that others won't have to make the kind of choices that she herself had to make. Just this past week, she published an article in the Progressive magazine that tells of an almost decade-long effort to target the transgender community. Leadership on that front believed that they could carve the T out of LGBTQ because of a general lack of understanding and support about transgender issues, and because they could make it a political wedge issue by getting their base riled up about bathrooms and participation in sports. And so she writes, "What is happening to transgender people is no accident. It is part of a coordinated assault designed to force them to flee, detransition, or remain in the closet permanently. An effort whose stated goal is the eradication of transgenderism." Here in Florida, Senate Bill 254, passed in the legislature and signed by Governor DeSantis this past month, is part of that assault. Condemned by the Human Rights Campaign as an extreme, unprecedented attack on transgender people, their health care, and the families and health care providers who care for them, the bill creates a ban on gender-affirming care that would also strip parental rights from parents who support their transgender children. Those of us who are educated on this issue at least a little bit clearly understand that gender-affirming care saves lives. Every mainstream American medical and mental health organization representing millions of providers in the United States call for age-appropriate, gender-affirming care for transgender and non-binary people. But politicians here in Florida and other states across the country, seeing this as a wedge issue going into 2024, are acting without care or concern for a population that has always existed within human experience and also only a very small percentage of the human population. The bill has caused great harm, as well as, including its predecessor, the Don't Say Gay bill that was passed last year, harm in our communities and especially in our schools. What has resulted is frightening. Those of you who heard Daniel Shaw and two of his students speak at a recent forum heard firsthand the kind of harassment that transgender students are experiencing almost every day in the public schools, and how they have to think about their own safety and well-being as they choose their future courses. Good news is that youth are speaking up with courage and with dignity in their fight for recognition and survival, and they are supported by people like Daniel Shaw, courageous teachers and leaders. And there is good news on other fronts. On the immigration front, this past Thursday evening, more than 6,500 people showed up in Immokalee to show that their support, their opposition to the recent immigration bill passed by the Florida legislature. And of course, here we are serving as a hub for the ballot initiative to put reproductive rights back in our own hands. The question is whether it is too little and too late. Or can we respond and push back? Can we, or should I say, will we stand up to the intolerance and continue to express positive values so that what becomes unacceptable is the hatred and viciousness that has erupted in public discourse and has been spewed upon some of our respected leaders in the community? That is the question that hangs in the balance. Please remain seated as we center ourselves for a time of sharing and meditation. The hymn is How Could Anyone? It's number 1053 in the Teal hymnal. Words will be on the screen. We'll sing it through twice.
How could anyone ever tell you you were anything less than beautiful? How could anyone ever tell you you were less than whole? How could anyone fail to notice that your loving is a miracle? How deeply you're connected to my soul. How could anyone ever tell you you were anything less than beautiful? How could anyone ever tell you you were less than whole? How could anyone fail to notice that your loving is a miracle? How deeply you're connected to my soul. How deeply you're connected to my soul.
As always, we come together as a community on Sunday mornings and at other times during the week to be with one another and to share with one another our life's journeys. In this time during our service, we provide the opportunity to share something that's important to you personally, something that you'd like to share about a joy that bubbles up or a sorrow that you've been experiencing. If you have something you'd like to share, raise your hand. I'll bring you the microphone. State your name and briefly what's in your heart, joys and sorrows.
I'm Catherine, and on Wednesday, a longtime dream of mine came true. My grandson graduated from Florida Tech the first weekend of May, but graduating from college and having a job are two different things. On Wednesday, he was offered a position at an engineering firm in Maryland, my home state, and it's been a long-time dream of mine because many years ago, before I was born, my father put himself through a bachelor's degree and a master's degree without a dime of support from his parents. His father, a carpenter, didn't believe in college education. So my father set the standard of believing in education in my family. I always wanted another engineer to be on my side. And so my two children went other paths, other occupations, and now my grandson has become an engineer. To make it extra sweet, the firm that hired him, he did his internship 2 summers ago. His name is Patrick Stewart, and they saved the sign that they put on his cubicle when he did his internship 2 summers ago. And every morning, the other engineers filed past and went, "Good morning, Captain Picard." So now he's ready to have that greeting again. He begins the day after the July 4th holiday. I'm a happy woman.
Hi, I'm Ellen Rubin, and my joy is that last weekend, Memorial Day weekend, I went to go visit Janice Rogers, who everybody here fondly remembers, in Lexington, Kentucky, where, you can just fly out of Punta Gorda on a direct flight. It was really easy, right into Lexington. Anyway, she's doing really well, and, I made her go to the UU Church in Lexington I made her go. No, I encouraged her to go because she's been wanting to, but didn't want to go by herself to the Lexington UU Church on last Sunday, which we really enjoyed. They were actually speaking exactly what we're speaking on today. And mentioning Florida with, not a whole lot of kindness in their voices. But anyway, she sends her love to everybody here, her love and her greetings.
Great. Thank you, Ellen.
I'm Melanie Chadwick. My joy is that I have a trans nephew who does not live in Florida. Born Karen is now Kai and just had top surgery and is very happy and very pleased with the results. Is in a supportive family with a therapist. Went through a suicide attempt when he was about 13 and is now the president of his high school. The sorrow is for all the kids in Florida and other places that won't have the care that they need to become who they're meant to be. And he's such a happy, healthy, and engaged person. And I'm just very grateful that they live where they live and not here.
Thank you, Melanie. Anyone else? Oh.
Well, here I am. Is this on? Yeah. I'm Ann Fullerton. I have a lot of thank yous to you people out here and maybe at home and in different places for all the kindness and good wishes. I'm 3 weeks out of surgery, and I feel better than I have in 2 years. So I just want to thank you all. I'm very happy to be here. It's my first time back in about a month and a half, so thank you again.
Anyone else? Camilla? Oh, yep. Okay, just to hear better. All right. Well, your presence is a joy anyway, so. All right. Thank you for all of you who have shared your joys, your concerns. We recognize all those joys and sorrows that remain unspoken in this room, on the pavilion, at home. Please know that you are here, that you are loved, and you can always speak openly in this place. Please join me in the spirit of meditation. Spirit of life, here is what we know. We are all a part of nature, made of star stuff and bound together by the rhythms and laws of the universe. We are all part of humanity, heirs to all that human beings have brought to the world, the good and the bad. We are all part of history, tied by blood to family and forebears. We are all part of community, linked by innumerable threads that bind us together. We all feel vulnerable from time to time. All of us wish to be held in love. Connected in so many ways, it seems strange how we find it so easy to build walls of separation, to divide ourselves when there is so much more that could hold us together. Spirit of love, let us give praise for this day and the possibilities it holds. Let us lift up the dream of a time when we all feel part of the same family, loving our differences, treating each other with dignity and respect, loving ourselves enough to love everyone else. Please join me in some time of silence.
Though I may speak with bravest fire and have the gift to all inspire and have not love, my words are vain, as sounding brass and hopeless gain. Though I may give all I possess, and striving so my love profess, but not be given by love within, the prophet soon turns strangely thin. Come, Spirit, come, our hearts control, our spirits long to be made whole. Let inward love guide every deed. By this we worship and are free.
I must confess that I used to be afraid to speak in public. Not with you, you're loving and kind. But I was especially timid about speaking in front of government officials. But when I found many troubling issues here in Collier, I felt compelled to get over my fear. Implementing an abortion ban, a potential law that would exempt Collier citizens from following new federal laws or orders, interest in using corporal punishment in the public schools, fear of enlarging a mental health center, arming teachers, and resistance to permitting the Pride Fest were just some of the examples of the intolerance, fear, and misinformation exhibited by community members or elected officials. These issues are what gave me the courage to speak up, and I did. Now, there has been hate speech directed at Rabbi Miller and Vincent Keys. White supremacists have handed out flyers in North Naples more than once. This hate in our community is reminding me of why I chose to be a member of this congregation. I attended a worship service here that was about the book, Not in My Town. And this service affected me profoundly, and I knew that I belonged here. It was an enactment of a true story about Billings, Montana. White supremacists had declared Montana as their Aryan homeland. The KKK and skinheads were passing out anti-Semitic and anti-homosexual flyers. Initially, the community chose not to speak. The hatred escalated to the point of windows of Jewish families being broken, Jewish cemeteries being vandalized, and a bomb threat was made to the temple. When the hate escalated, a few mothers organized a town hall. A coalition was formed, and a petition against hate was circulated. But what most deeply affected the citizens was when the police advised the Jewish families to take down all their Hanukkah decorations. They thought, what is this going to do to the Jewish children? A campaign was started to ask people of all faiths to put a menorah in their window. At first, hundreds did. And there was a risk to doing this. A few windows got broken. But there was an even greater risk in not doing anything. Eventually, businesses and churches started placing menorahs in their windows. Gradually, the menorahs grew to the thousands. Confronted by a united town, the KKK and the skinheads backed off. What had been started by just a few women grew into the thousands. And this story brings up some questions. What is our obligation when there is hate in our community? What legacy do we wish to leave for our children, our grandchildren, and our community? Our UU values matter. Love, justice, equity, and generosity matter. Our democracy matters. It is our responsibility and our obligation to maintain it. A democracy is for everyone. The values espoused in a democracy and in Unitarian Universalism as justice and equity, but also inclusion, pluralism, and fairness will not be a part of our culture unless we work to maintain these values. While speaking or writing against hate is an important way to help, we can live our values in other ways, such as showing support by joining the Pride Center, by becoming a member of the NAACP. We could sit next to and support someone who is speaking at a school board meeting or a county commission meeting. We can donate to help transgendered people get their medication or get transportation. Please do what you feel comfortable doing to support those harmed by intolerance and hate in our community. Just as the women suffragettes and the civil rights activists did not give up, I hope that we will not give up or back down. I hope that we will live our values.
I have a voice, started out as a whisper, turned into a scream, made a beautiful noise, shoulder to shoulder marching in the street. When you're all alone, it's a quiet breeze, but when you stand together, it's a choir of thunder and rain. Now we have a choice, 'cause I have a voice. I'm not living to die. Don't stand in a wasteland, look at me in the eyes. Stop living a lie and stand up next to me. You gotta put one foot in front of another, with a hand in a hand holding on to each other. Go on and rejoice, 'cause you have a voice. It is loud, it is clear, it's stronger than your fear. It's believing you belong, it's for calling out the wrong. From the silence of my sisters to the violence of my brothers, we can rage against the river, feel the pain of another. I have a voice. I have a voice, and I let it speak for the ones who aren't yet running free. It's killing me. No one is saying what we need to hear. I will not let silence win, not when I see all the pain our people are in. There's no other choice, 'cause I have a voice. It is loud, it is clear, it is stronger than your fear. It's believing you belong, it's for calling out the wrong. From the mouths of our mothers to the lips of our daughters, we can dream like our brothers, speaking loud like our fathers. We can heal. Can you hear us? Can you hear us now? I have a voice, started out as a whisper, turned into a scream, made a beautiful noise, shoulder to shoulder marching in the street. When you're all alone, it's a quiet breeze, but when you stand together, it's a choir of thunder and rain. Now we have a choice, 'cause I have a voice. Now we have a choice, 'cause I have a voice. Now we have a choice, 'cause I have a voice.
In a world that is often intolerant, our liberal tradition has historically held up tolerance as a mainstay. The cornerstones of our Unitarian faith that my parents and grandparents celebrated were freedom, reason, and tolerance. In this, they echoed a continuing thread running through the disparate communities of Unitarian thought in Poland, Transylvania, England, and America over the past 500 years. It was a thread that spoke to our own existence outside the religious norms of the day. Our wish for tolerance was a wish for survival, a wish to be treated fairly and to be acknowledged for who we and what we were in an environment that was rarely welcoming. And it is no different for anyone who finds themselves on the fringes of our cultural norms today, which is why Unitarian Universalists are often ready and willing to stand beside our fellow human beings on the front lines of change. I mentioned the three cornerstones of freedom, reason, and tolerance, but though unexpressed for reasons that could fill a number of sermons, the fourth cornerstone of our tradition has always been love. Francis David, the Unitarian preacher who in the mid-1500s championed religious tolerance in Transylvania, is credited with the words that still echo in our congregations today. We need not think alike to love alike. David would have recognized the words that Sean sang this morning for the musical meditation as being inspired by Paul's first letters to the Corinthians. If I speak in the tongues of mortals and of angels but do not have love, I am a noisy gong or a clanging cymbal. And if I have prophetic powers and understand all mysteries and all knowledge, and if I have all faith so as to remove mountains but do not have love, I am nothing. If I give away all my possessions, and if I hand over my body so that I may boast, but do not have love, I gain nothing. David would have known the words that follow by heart. Love is patient, love is kind, love is not envious or boastful or arrogant or rude. It does not insist on its own way. It is not irritable or resentful. It does not rejoice in wrongdoing, but rejoices in the truth. It bears all things, believes all things, hopes all things, endures all things. Francis David would have known this passage not as we might, as one often used to counsel celebrants in wedding ceremonies. David would have clearly known that Paul was not writing about romantic love, but instead about the kind of love that he wished his followers in the Corinth community would strive for. A love for their fellow human beings, the unconditional love that sees beyond the outer surface and accepts the recipient for who they are, regardless of difference or imperfection. The Greek word for love that Paul used was agape, not eros. Thomas Aquinas described this as the highest kind of love that willed the good of another. It is this kind of love, I believe, that has always provided and still provides the greatest support for our movement that seeks to build a new and better way of being human and of human being. It is the kind of love that is reflected throughout our 7 principles, though not mentioned by name. It is the core value upon which the newly proposed principles are centered. Through our UU Siding with Love campaign, Unitarian Universalists work to live this kind of love by amplifying the voices of the oppressed, through our media presence, by showing up in partnership at justice events across the country, by lobbying local and national leaders to work for immigration reform, for racial justice, for dignity and equity, for lesbian, gay, bisexual, transgender, queer, gender fluid, and non-binary individuals, and for true religious freedom. And underscoring all this is our desire to make love manifest in the world. As Cornel West has said, justice is what love looks like in public. It is, I think, the love that animates the other cornerstones of our faith and has pushed us to build upon them. When our forebears called for freedom, it was for a freedom to study and practice a faith that challenged the religious doctrines of the day. And when they spoke of reason, it was to apply that noble human quality to Scripture as to discover the essential truths within. Over the centuries, we have continued to broaden our understanding and application of those two important aspects of our faith. And so, too, have we moved beyond the idea of tolerance towards a world of acceptance. Bryn Tannehill writes eloquently about the difference between tolerance and acceptance. Living someplace that is merely tolerant without acceptance, she writes, is like an existence within a sensory deprivation chamber. It won't directly kill you, but it exacts a toll. Acceptance is like an ocean littered with other survivors, inviting you to tie yourself to their life rafts. People who are willing to share their journeys, resources, and fates regardless of where you have been and how you got there. All that matters is that you are there now and none of you are alone. The difference, she writes, between tolerance and acceptance is spiritual survival. Unitarian Universalism has moved beyond the kind of tolerance that can devolve into apathy, and we have adopted the more proactive word acceptance as a foundational concept. Our third current principle, acceptance of one another and encouragement to spiritual growth in our congregation, speaks directly to this. But the entire covenant of our association moves us toward a kind of radical acceptance, a radical hospitality. We do this by acknowledging that with freedom comes responsibility. The responsibility to educate ourselves and to pursue with reason and openness an enlarged sense of humanity, an ever-growing sense of what is beautiful and good. With love and wisdom gained through continual engagement, our lenses on the world become more finely polished, and we can see ourselves, our neighbors, and the world ever more clearly. Without love, however, the lens remains clouded and the wisdom shallow. Our tradition calls us to meet one another where we are. It calls us to promote the other being who they are without the need to compartmentalize them. It is what we all want and need, a place to call our own, a place where we can be met where we are on our own journey, a place that acknowledges that each of us has our own vulnerabilities, and yet a place that is still ready to embrace us in love. We are not yet perfect in this work. As we are seeing in the world out there, it is all too easy to build walls to hide behind or to hold someone at a distance. This is a human default, bred in shame and in fear, and we are all subject to the kind of inner struggles that loves a wall. But as I said in today's meditation, all of us feel vulnerable from time to time. We all need love in order to thrive. When we work and live remembering our own vulnerabilities, we become more empathetic to the experiences and feelings of those around us. Hopefully, we become more willing to speak up for our fellow human beings, for a world where differences are honored as strengths. Unfortunately, our world, especially here in Florida, is moving, it seems, in the opposite direction, back towards an ugly intolerance and even persecution. As Bill Moyers once said, civilization is but a thin veneer stretched across the passions of the human heart. And civilization does not just happen. We have to make it happen. UUA President Susan Frederick Gray has said that this is no time for a casual faith. This is a time to live our values out in public and show what love looks like in a world that seems not to care. This is a time to stay educated, to be vigilant, to be courageous, and to show up without being asked for the values of freedom, reason, acceptance, and especially love, and when those values are being subverted. We are all survivors in this world, needing to tie our life rafts together for mutual support and strength. It is for us to go on building that network of life rafts, learning to love our differences, knowing the richness that diversity brings. May we continue to share our journeys, our common resources and fates, to speak out for our values, regardless of where we've been or how we got here. What's important is that we are here together. And from here, we can make a difference. May it ever be so.
As we take this time to reflect on today's words and music, let us also take time to show our gratitude for this community and all that it does. This morning's offering will be greatly received. If you are not in the sanctuary, please consider sending a contribution today. The information that you need to donate is on the screen.
You with the sad eyes, don't be discouraged, though I realize it's hard to take courage in a world full of people. You can lose sight of it all, and the darkness there inside you makes you feel so small. But I see your true colors shining through. See your true colors. That's why I love you. So don't be afraid to let them show your true colors. True colors are beautiful. Like a rainbow. Show me a smile then, and don't be unhappy. Can't remember when I last saw you laughing. If this world makes you crazy and you've taken all you can bear, you call me up because you know I'll be there. And I see your true colors shining through. See your true colors. That's why I love you. So don't be afraid to let them show your true colors. True colors are beautiful, like a rainbow. I can't remember when I last saw you laugh. If this world makes you crazy and you've taken all you can bear, you call me up because you know I'll be there. And I see your true colors shining through. See your true colors, and that's why I love you. So don't be afraid do let them show your true colors. Your true colors are beautiful, like a rainbow.
If you're interested in finding more about this congregation and Unitarian Universalism, there'll be an orientation right after the service. Time to go out and get some coffee and then report back here if you're interested. We'll find a good place to be together. That will be about an hour it will take. So if you're interested, please down front after you get your coffee. Next Saturday is the Naples Pride Fest. I hope everyone will show up with smiles. It's a wonderful event full of love and lots of color, a lot of great people. So please mark that on your calendar at Cambia Park next Saturday beginning at 11. We have two ballot initiatives that we're talking about this morning. The ballot initiative to create or bring back our choices in reproductive justice and reproductive rights will be there. Janet on the pavilion. Dina will be roaming. Jeannie Goldberg. There's also a petition for clean water that Judy Friedberg is carrying around. Judy's, I think, on the pavilion. So that's an effort to sort of demand that we pay attention to the water in our state. So that's also going to be available for you to sign. I think that's everything. 1, 2, 3, 4. All right. Oh, thank you. You were supposed to do that.
On June 15th, Thursday night, 7 o'clock, I believe. Yes, 7 o'clock. The music committee is presenting the Zach Bartholomew Trio. It's a fantastic jazz trio, and they're doing music of Bud Powell and Thelonious Monk. It's going to be really, really wonderful. $20 in advance, $25 at the door. See, Ellen, are you going to be out there or out there? Out there. Yeah, on the pavilion. Right. And if you're curious as to what they sound like, I have there's going to be some sound out there, some music. Yeah.
All right. Thanks, Sean. Well, let's rise as you're willing and able and join in our closing hymn, number 118. In the gray hymnal, words are on your screen. This little light of mine.
This little light of mine, I'm gonna let it shine. This little light of mine, I'm gonna let it shine. This little light of mine, I'm gonna let it shine. Let it shine, let it shine, let it shine. Everywhere I go, I'm gonna let it shine. Everywhere I go, I'm gonna let it shine. Everywhere I go, I'm gonna let it shine. Let it shine, let it shine, let it shine. Building up our world, I'm gonna let it shine. Building up our world, I'm gonna let it shine. Building up our world, I'm gonna let it shine. Let it shine, let it shine, let it shine. This little light of mine, I'm gonna let it shine. This little light of mine, I'm gonna let it shine. This little light of mine, I'm gonna let it shine. Let it shine, let it shine, let it shine.
Woo! I heard some wonderful harmony out there, Ann Fullerton. Thank you so much. Go out into the world in peace. Have courage. Hold on to what is good. Return to no person evil for evil. Strengthen the faint-hearted. Support the weak. Help the suffering. Honor all beings. Have a wonderful day.